What's going on, guys? This is going to be a very, very raw video, literally of me just talking to you guys the entire time. I really just want to give you guys just a lot as far as mentality and trading, you know. A lot of you guys in my Discord, a lot of you guys in my DMs, just constantly saying, Xander, I keep losing. Well, what am I doing wrong? And then you send me your trade, and then I look at it, and I'm like, dude, there's an obvious reason why you're losing this. So I'm just going to talk under like 10-ish minutes, literally like no cuts in this whatsoever. Just talking to you guys and kind of helping you out and just seeing what's up. Why this is, as you can see from the title, why is this the best time to get into trading? There's obviously some of you guys might be losing because of the Trump markets. I hate using that term. I just made a video on that actually on my Instagram, and yeah, the markets aren't the best, but you guys need to hold yourself accountable, right? I personally have adapted my trading model a bit. If you guys are on my lives and everything, you see my trades, you can see that I'm trading slightly different, right? Does that mean I'm winning more, I'm losing more? No, I'm trying to keep the same average, right? The only thing I'm changing is kind of my entry model. So me personally, I'm adapting. You got to change certain things. If the market dumps 100 points without you, you don't take a trade, that's fine. If the market dumps and doesn't retrace, you know, let's just say we put like we're looking for short, it dumps, we're looking for a retrace into a CISD, it might retrace just into a fair value gap. For example, like today, price pushed into a 15-minute fair value gap, and off of that, I looked for an entry off the CISD, but at the same time, when we displaced, we left a gap behind. I knew, just based on what's been going on recently, we're gonna retrace into the fair value gap, not the CISD. So I entered off that, it took about 100 points, 400-ish ticks today in profit. But why trading right now? These markets, we're moving very, very volatile. When markets are very volatile, yes, you can lose money, but if you know what you're doing and you take advantage of it, you can make money. This is the best time to make money. As you see all these people, they're making a lot of money off of trading. Why is that? Because you're seeing big moves up, big moves down. Yes, some of it might be due to news, but if you can catch these moves and actually get a good entry, you can make money, right? For example, like I said today, usually I might catch, 150, 200 ticks. Today I caught 400 ticks off an entry model that I've adapted in these Trump markets, right? Another thing I kind of want to touch on is, what do you do outside of trading, right? Me personally, I love to hoop. I love to go to the gym, love to eat right and do all that stuff. I'm gonna get a little personal here because this is what has affected me and how I've adapted. So last week before, I had an okay trading week, not the best compared to what I've had this week so far and other trading weeks across all the other months. Reason because is, like, full transparency, I was slacking on my diet a little and my gym. And I know you guys might like look at that and be like, oh, but it's just the gym and the diet. Like, what does it have to do with anything? I'm gonna tell you, subconsciously in the back of my mind, I had ice cream 4 days in a row. I don't tell many people that, but like, I'm being open with you guys here. And that's what kind of caused me to, not have the best focus on the charts, right? This week coming into it, I have a complete different mentality, and my focus has been insane. The trades have been a lot more beautiful, a lot more just locked in on that. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to yap about that for a second. But outside of trading, this is also a decent time to get into long-term investing. I am not a financial analyst. I don't want you guys to listen to anything I say. Anything I say in this video as far as financial advice, take it with a grain of salt. None of it is to be listened to. Obviously, do your own due diligence, do your own research, but this might be a decent time to start bidding long-term stocks. And I don't mean hopping into a stock and then, let's just say you hop in Apple and then closing it a day later. I mean going in decently heavy into some stocks such as Apple and Nvidia. Like I said, no financial advice. And off of that, letting it sit for years, 5, 10, 15 years. Not looking at it every day and going like, oh, look at this. Oh, I'm up $50. Let me close. No, I'm talking about leaving it and letting it compound just year after year after year, right? So I guess that's going to lead me into the next thing I kind of want to cover. Why, like, how are you going to actually do this, right? There's a lot that goes into this. It's so much easier said than done, but you guys need to set a plan, need to set a structure, whether that be wake up at 8:30 in the morning and market opens at 9:30 Eastern, or wake up at 6 a.m. Eastern and go to the gym, do something like that. That's what I do, right? The whole point is you need to lock in. We're already 3.5 months through the year. What is that? Maybe, let's just round it off to about 28-30%. If you're in the same spot right now as you were in January, I'm not going to say I'm disappointed in you, but you should be disappointed in yourself. It's not too late. You still have 70% of the year. Quick math. You still have around 70% of the year to actually make something out of this year. Now, it's a big problem when December hits and you are in the same exact spot you were in January. Your bank account looks the same. Your trading results look the same. Nothing has changed. Your diet looks the same. You're still the same weight or more, not in a healthy way. Stuff like that's just the little things you have to fix. Look at yourself right now, and look, if there was a mirror right here, I'd look at it and I'd be like, do I want to see myself in this same exact position? Even though I'm doing good right now, do I want to see myself in this position in December, or do I want to be 110% better? Doesn't matter if you don't see crazy results, as long as you're putting the effort. Like I always say to you guys, inputs equal outputs. If you put in 110% of inputs, your outputs are going to be 110% over time. Every day, just put 1% more effort. Whether that be, today you do 30 minutes incline, which is what I do every single day, on the treadmill. Tomorrow or next week, do 35. It's the same thing when you're lifting. Progressive overload, right? For all my gym people out there. Let's say you're curling 30-pound dumbbells. A week after, you either want to add a few reps or you want to add 5 pounds, 2.5 pounds, right? The point is, if you want to see growth, you have to I make reels about this all the time. You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations in order to grow, right? In order for me to grow, I need to put myself in an uncomfortable situation. If I'm comfortable, I'm going to be, I'm so relaxed. I'm going to be in the same exact spot where I am when December rolls around, right? So enough of that. I'm going to get back to what I was saying as far as trading. A lot of you guys are asking me, prop firm or live? There's benefits to both. Prop firms, you obviously have a lot less risk, right? Let's say you spend $50 on a 50K with Top Step, $149 activation fee. You're about, just round it up to $200 in. You can let's just say you take a $2,000 payout off of that. Obviously your ROI is a lot higher, but you're restricted, right? Because you can only lose, $2,000. Whereas let's say you put 2,000 or 5,000, let's just say you have 5,000 funds, you put that in a live account. You could be stupid and risk that entire 5,000 in one trade, or you can compound it. Now the thing is too, payout rules. On a live account, you can take out what you want whenever you want. Let's just say let's say you throw that $5,000 in and you hit a 2R. You made 10,000, right? You can take all of that out, or you can just keep compounding. Obviously it's stupid to fool port that. Whereas a prop firm account, you cannot, right? You have to hit consistency rules. You can only take 80 to 90% out. Or on top, so you can take 50% of your balance for your first payout, like that. But I guess what I'm leading into is, we're talking about payouts. What do you do with payouts? Xander, what do you do with payouts? Don't be stupid. Don't go to Louis Vuitton. Don't go to these designer stores and start dropping all your payouts. Usually, first step at least, since all this is done, since everything gets reported, obviously. If you go through Top Step, you're getting reported, you're getting a 1099, you're getting tax forms at the end of the year, right? In April, January, whenever they come through for you. What do you do with them? First thing you do, and if you don't, you're stupid, set aside around 30 to 45%, give it a cushion for taxes. Open a new bank account. Obviously, don't listen to anything I say here. This is just what I do personally. This is literally just advice on my end. Get a financial advisor, get a CPA, do everything properly. Step number 1, open a new bank account and put 30 to 45% of each payout or whatever you make into that bank account and never touch it until tax season comes. What you're doing with this is, yes, you can obviously access it whenever you want, but you're also putting money aside that is just for taxes, right? Now, let's just say the other 60 to 70% that you have left. You can literally take 50% of that, put it into a live trading account, take the other 50%, put it into savings, or just do whatever you want with it. Go to the stores, go buy whatever you want. I don't care. But the point is, off of each payout, once you take enough for taxes out, you need to start putting it into a live account, right? You don't want to be on a prop firm forever. So I guess I talked about taxes a bit. Yeah, I've been yapping a lot. What happens if you don't lock in? I'm gonna kind of talk about that. I briefly already did. I don't want you guys to be in the same position right now, like I said in December. If you guys don't lock in, you're gonna regret it. Me personally, 5 years ago when I started to learn trading, I have 5 years of experience. That's a lot compared to a lot of people. If I never did that, I guarantee you I would be sitting in this seat right now, not even making this video because I don't know how to trade. I'd be probably looking around, pondering and being like, what am I doing with my life? when 5 years earlier, I could have had 5 years of charting experience, 5 years of doing well in, or not doing well in trading for 5 years, but all of that market experience, just learning year after year after year, right? So you can kind of train yourself. If you're a little hesitant, you're lazy, don't be lazy, please. The point is, you can look at yourself, take my example, 5 years from now. Xander, if I don't do something today, that I want to put off, if I look at myself 5 years from now, this is the way I think about it. What will I think? What will I say to myself? Will I be disappointed? If your answer is yes to that question, will I be disappointed? You need to reevaluate everything, right? And the biggest thing in trading is you need to treat it like a business, right? Because if you don't treat trading like a business, I know people, I've said this multiple times, I know people that show up with a suit, they sit down at their desk, and they treat it like a genuine business, like a business meeting. Me personally, I wear a hoodie, I just wear normal clothes, but I also treat it like a business, right? Because if you treat trading like a business, you're gonna take it seriously. Obviously, you don't have clients, you don't have services you're selling, you don't have products you're selling, you don't need customers to come in every morning and buy your coffee or stuff like that. But you still need to treat it like it's a genuine, serious thing. And if you don't, you're gonna get burned, right? So like I said, I'm literally just gonna leave this part of this video, I'm gonna leave it here. If not now, then when? When are you gonna lock in? When are you gonna actually take it seriously? If you procrastinate it, when is that gonna happen? Sure, you might be tired today. If you put it off to tomorrow, what happens tomorrow when you're also lazy, you have stomach ache, your toes hurt, you're gonna put it off the next day, right? And then the next day after that, oh, I woke up with a headache, I lost my trade, I'm not in a good mood. All this stuff's gonna keep coming up. But what if today, instead of, let's just say you have stomach ache today, you say, I'm gonna go and back test for 2 hours. I'm gonna fight through that, I'm gonna actually focus and do what I need to do. Tomorrow, let's say you have a headache. You're gonna say, if I made it through a stomach ache like that and I can learn all of this and do what I did, I think I'm good to go, right? Think about it that way. So I'm also gonna lead into, I'm yapping like crazy. I want you guys to actually take a ton of value from this video, but I'm gonna kind of lead into beginner mistakes, just from what I see as I'm a mentor. I have a decent amount of students, a lot of people that have taken profitability. One thing I'm going to, I guess, talk about in this part of the video is beginner mistakes that I noticed, stuff that I change, and how to overcome that, I guess. So recently, one of my students kept hopping from model to model to model, right? One of the models is mine, one of them was another one he saw on YouTube, and one of them was another he was just testing out. What ended up happening when he went from one model for like 3 hours back testing, one model, another 2 hours back testing, another model, another 2.5 hours back testing. He started to spiral, right? Why did he start to spiral? Lost a few trades with the first, thought the data wasn't good enough, so he went to the next one thinking that it'll give him a better edge, even though it's not true. Lost a few with that, did the same thing with the last one, right? Why does this hurt? Why does this hurt? Because one model might be something you like, the next is just random confluences. And that's kind of what else I'm gonna lead into right now. When you see, like I gave you the example, the short, remember the CISD, the one I took today with the fair value gap that I entered off of. We don't just enter off of a random sweep of a high and then an inversion fair value gap, right? You need to have narrative, you need to have idea, you need to have context. Where's price going? Because if the 1 minute is telling me bearish and then I click on the hourly and the hourly is telling me bullish, I'm not gonna go bearish, right? So that's kind of what I'm leading into here. You need to have context into your trades. 8 times out of 10, when I see people take a loss, the first question I ask them, if you went to the hourly right now, would it have followed your context? Would it have followed the narrative that you want? Immediately, my students are gonna say no. Why? Because they know. They know that if they took a 1 minute short on a, obviously 15 minute, if you go on the 15 minute, you're gonna see a 15 minute bullish gap C there, you're gonna see that massive wick into it, then they're like, that's why. Until that 15 minute inverts, keep following trend. Keep going from internal, external, internal, external. If a high gets broken, internal, external, keep going up and up and up, right? So I guess like if you make that mistake, it's fine, but like you need to learn from your mistakes, right? If you make a mistake, it's fine if you make that mistake, but don't make that mistake again. You didn't wait for a sweep, completely fine. You lost a few $100. Don't make that again. Otherwise, that's a problem, right? I always say it all the time. If you make a mistake and you learn from it, that's a winner. If you make a mistake and you don't learn from it, that is a loss right there. Because when I was learning trading, as I told you guys, as a trial and error, because I didn't have anyone teaching me anything, if I lost $500 on a trade, but I learned what not to do ever again, I'm fine with paying that $500 because now I have a model that actually works, a model that yields a high percentage every single trade. I'm taking it off of that, and that's completely fine with me, right? but you guys cannot rush the process. You cannot rush anything in trading. Your path to profitability is different than someone else's. I've seen it with all my students. A few of my students might be, I don't know, 3 months. Another might be a year. Another one might be a month and a half. It all depends on how good your mentality is from other stuff you've done. People say it all the time, but if you were a good gamer, you likely are a good trader because you've gone through all those quests, all those challenges. Let's say you were a great Fortnite player, you collected 7 chests at Risky Reels. You went through that grit, right? I know it's stupid to talk about, but like you were committed to that. You went through the grit. Let's say you collected 6 chests, you died. You still played that next game. You still showed up at the next game in the lobby, right? It's the same thing in trading. If you take a loss one day and you still show up the next morning, you have that grit in you, you have that determination, you want it badly. If you don't show up, you don't want it bad enough, right? But yeah, I mean, going back to losses, if you make a mistake and you tell yourself, like let's say on the right here, I have on my wall on a piece of paper written my trading rules. If I follow that, great, good job, Xander, great. However, if you have your trading rules on the wall and you don't follow any of it, you don't follow one bit of that, you keep making mistakes. What's the point? Why? If you keep telling yourself stop when you make these mistakes, why do you keep making them? It's like, I don't get it. I get like some of you guys like to gamble. You like to just be in a trade. You like to just enter off a random inverse and just hope it goes your way. You cannot, with trading, you cannot kind of want something. You need to play off what you're given, right? Because you can want something, but the markets can want a whole different thing. You can want, like I took today, I wanted longs preferably for just a split second, but obviously that wasn't the play, right? We took shorts, we took a W. If I want longs, market's telling me short, I'm gonna follow what the market wants. I can want a million things in trading, but if the market wants a certain thing, I'm not going against that. Excuse me. But I guess where I'm gonna lead all of this off and just close it here, I've been yapping, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. I'll see when I cut this off. But you guys need accountability, whether that be through you, whether that be through a buddy that you start trading with, whether that be through a brother, whether that be through a friend you meet online, your parents if they're supportive of trading, or even a mentor. If you have a mentor, like I personally do with my students, I'm the mentor, they're my students. I don't like to yell, but in certain cases, if I have to, I'm gonna yell at them because I tell my students what they need to hear, not what they wanna hear. I don't sugarcoat everything. If they take a loss and I'm like, look, I'm not gonna say any names, look blank, look Joseph, you made this mistake last week, why are you making it again? You know you shouldn't make that mistake, right? And then he'll go on and on and on and on, this, that. And I'll be like, dude, look, no excuses. If you make a mistake today, completely fine, as long as you don't make that mistake tomorrow, right? Let's say you don't wait for a shift in structure today, completely fine, mark that down, journal it down because we need that data. That's how we can look at how you're improving or not. And tomorrow rolls around, waits for a shift, takes a W, there you go. That is how you win. Because I say what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So I guess that's where I'm going to close this off because I want to see you guys win, right? I want to see everyone win in trading that I can personally help. I do as much as I can in my Discord, but if you guys need more one-on-one help, I'm completely open for that. And there's so much success. Hayden, Lynn, Sebas, all my students that have gotten payouts and just made a ton of money, just doing what I preach, what I teach, because it's all this one system. So if you guys are looking for someone to hold you accountable, I will yell at you if I need to. But if you want someone that's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and actually take you from 0 to 10K every single month as best as possible as I can, you have the right guy here. I'm going to put the links in the bio for my Instagram and everything. Shoot me a DM on there. I'll put some links to apply. I do have a few more spots open. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoy this.